So I got a hold of these folks today, and guess they're having some personal issues right now, so they weren't, they haven't been able to come pick up their mower. So they said they'd send somebody out to pick it up today or tomorrow, and I said, nah, I don't want to do that. Just take your time. I'd rather the folks that dropped it off be the ones that pick it up. Ran into that last year, and it just causes too many problems. Last year, you may remember if you were watching last year, an elderly couple stopped by and looked at my signs and asked about questions, and they didn't even stop. They just parked on the side of the road and honked their horn. I had to walk up to them. And I told them what I did, and they were like, oh, okay, I got this mower. I want to swap out the engine. Because the deck, they wanted to swap out the engine because the deck was rusted. And I had one sitting around that I was going to scrap. I said, sure, we could do that. So later, somebody else calls me and wants a few things fixed. I said, sure, yeah, I can do that. And she said, well, that elderly couple would bring it by, because she couldn't get down here. And I said, okay. Well, they brought it by and everything was fine. I got it fixed, and I called her up, and she said she'll send the guys, the elderly couple back down. They came back down, picked it up. They promised they were going to bring their mowers over. Okay. And it was really no big deal. One of the things that I'd worked on was a walk-behind weed eater. And that was a pretty big deal because the head was rusted up and broke. And so I had to order a whole new head, and it was memorable because it was a big job. But I put it all back together. I had pictures of it, made a video of it. So anyway, he comes, the elderly couple picks it up, and I didn't hear anything about it. Not again. Well, they come back with their mowers, and he brings me that mower that has rust on it, and it's ancient. I mean, 1970s easily. And he says, I want you to work on that one. I said, I don't, that's not exactly how it went, but he had another push mower that was much newer. I said, what? He says, I want you to fix these. And I said, I don't know if I want to work on that old one. The parts are going to be hard to find. And I said, I'll work on the new one. He said, okay. And started talking to me about what was wrong with that one. And then he comes back and says, I want you to work on that old one. I said, no, I'm just not going to. I'm not going to be able to find parts. You don't need parts, just clean the carburetor. I said, I've heard that before, and something will come up, I'll need a part. Whether it's a gasket or O-ring or whatever, I'll need something. And I won't be able to find it. And now I've got money and time invested in it, and I won't be able to finish the job. Oh, okay. So then he goes back, starts talking about that original mower again, the newer mower. Comes back and says, I'll work on that. I want you to work on that old one. I said, no, sir, I'm not doing it. As a matter of fact, I'm not doing either one of them because I've said 3 times now I'm not working on that one. So I pick them both up. I put them both back in their truck, and I shake his hand. He says, well, I don't have an effing mower now. I said, I apologize, but I'm just not going to get into this working on stuff, being forced to work on stuff that I know I can't fix. There's no parts. Well, I don't know what you expect me to do. I'm sorry, sir. And I raised my hand, and he's to shake, so he could shake my hand. And he started to back off, and then he realized, he was being unreasonable, and he shook my hand. But I still think he was mad. He thinks I should have worked on that old mower, and I just wasn't going to. I've tried to set a rule that if it's more than 30 years old, 20, about 2000 is about my cutoff, year 2000. If it gets much older than that, I start scratching my head. I mean, there's a few Craftsman that's still easy to get parts for, but they, with Craftsman, they make that same model for years and years and years. The Beast, it's a 2000. And they made it for years. So, it's kind of a judgment call, but in general, 30 years, roughly, that's about the time frame that I want to cut off. I've had other guys come over with a 1970s chainsaw and expect me to repair them. I'm not going to repair it. You know, won't be able to find parts. It doesn't need parts. Well, how did they know it doesn't need parts? If they know this so well, why don't they fix it themselves? That's confusing to me. How do you know? You don't even know. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with it. You're just dropping it off. So a couple weeks or a month later, the gal with the walk behind calls me up and says, that entire top cover is missing. Why'd you send it back here without the top cover? And ma'am, I have pictures of it. The cover was there when it left here. Well, it's not on now. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. I can send you the pictures. And I said, well, you can go out in the shop just to make sure there's nothing laying around that the pictures, you know, because I wasn't sure what she was talking about. And so I messaged her back and said, I don't have anything. There's nothing that I have that would fit your machine. And she says, it's the top cover. It's huge. There's no way you could miss it. But you didn't put it back on. I said, now wait a minute. Are you the lady that had the elderly couple pick that up? She said, yes. And I said, well, at that point, I can't really take responsibility because I don't know what was done with it. Maybe somebody else worked on it since then. When'd you get it from them? Today. So it'd been nearly a month before she got her equipment back after I worked on it. I said, I don't know what to tell you. Well, she seemed to calm down, like she started to realize what was going on, like maybe they were mad at me, and maybe he did sabotage it to try to pin it on me. So I've decided that I'm not doing any secondhand type of exchanges. It's going to be the person that picked it up or dropped it off that's going to pick it up. I wouldn't even mind if like a husband or wife came by and dropped it off, and then the wife came picked it up. That'd be fine too, as long as I could see their name. But the representative thing, I don't think that's a good idea. Maybe I'm being too strict, too harsh, but I just don't think it's a good idea. I saw this guy on YouTube, and I just can't even understand this. So he hires someone to do pickup and delivery in town. Now it's a bigger town apparently. From what the video showed, it looked pretty big. So they map out a route each morning that he takes to pick up these mowers, and then he comes back, picks up the mowers that are finished, and drops them off. Now I don't even know how he gets paid. Didn't make sense. He never explained that. Did they pay prior to or what? But he just drops them off in the driveway with the invoice or the receipt or whatever it is. And there's no way I would do that. No way. Even if they paid somehow, maybe debit card. I don't know. I guess that's how they do it. Maybe they pay with debit card. Of course, I just take cash. It's too risky. First of all, I'm not going to pay for the debit card machine. And I live off grid, and I got to have electric to run that thing and internet and all that. I'm just not going to get into that kind of resources. That's infrastructure. And the more infrastructure I got, the more my overhead cost is. And I'm just not going to get into it. So I take cash, and I'm not taking checks. I'm not doing it. You spend more time trying to clear up bad checks than you do anything else. And that's just a waste of time. So, so he leaves it. I just can't imagine that's a good idea. So he takes a picture of it, where he dropped it off at. But what if a neighbor or some passerby came and picked that thing up? I mean, now, the video showed it was a nicer neighborhood, so I got to give it some credit. But there's just no way I would leave it there without the handoff. That, okay, it is now your responsibility, because let's just say it did get stolen. What if the customer calls him up and says, my mower's not here? And the guy says, oh yeah, we dropped it off, here's the pictures. Okay, so yeah, there's pictures, I see pictures, but how do I know you didn't put it back in your trailer after you took the pictures? And so now you're into this battle of who is it? And I still think, for whatever reason, I still think it's the company's responsibility that those things are safe until the handoff is done. So yeah, there's just things that I'm not going to do. Look, I live in a little bitty town, and an elderly couple comes over and they're mad because I didn't want to work on their 1975 push mower. So what do? They sabotage. Not only did they allegedly sabotage a walk behind weed trimmer, they also caused me to lose another customer. The customer that sent that stuff down. So if I'd have just told the lady, yeah, I'm not going to work on it because, you know, I'm not going to do the handoff thing. I don't know. In that case, you know, the rule I really need to consider, because the people who handed it off are the same people that picked it up. But I really think that the owner or the person who's going to be writing the check should have at least saw the handoff. That way they can say, yep, that looks like what it should look like. The covers are all on, and you know, they're satisfied. Instead of me getting a call, I think it was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, getting a call saying, hey, you know, where's my cover to this thing? I don't know. You know, what do you want me to tell you? So, but in this case, you know, it's still, the season's, you know, we're still cold. I'm not getting any work in, so this here can just sit here. But, you know, I might have to move it out if somebody brings in. Now, I was checking with AI, and last year it seemed like business started real early in March. We had a bunch of brush fires around here, 35 acres burned around here, and there was brush fires all over the state of Missouri. We're in a real drought, but it was like 7 degrees warmer than average, you know, record temperature type of thing, or record, let's see, 7 degrees warmer than the record high, maybe is what it was for the month of March. And work started really early last year, really early. So I asked AI, are we going to be in a similar situation this year? And predictably, they are predicting, I should say, that we're going to be 4 degrees warmer than normal. So last year we were 7, this year, so we're going to be 3 degrees cooler. The difference is it's not going to be so dry. It's going to be very rainy. So AI is predicting that, yeah, we're going to have a busy March again simply because of warm temperatures. What it is it's not so much the grass is growing, it's that the people who own summer homes down here, they come down from Kansas City because it warmed up and they want to get on the lake. You know, they get antsy, they want to start spending time on the lake. So I would imagine we got about a month and a half left before. And the other thing is Kansas City takes spring break March 14th, which I didn't know that last year. So they're going to come down March 14th or I said summer, spring break. They take spring break March 14th. So they'll come down, I guess it's spring break. That didn't really sound like spring, March, whatever. Some sort of break. So they'll come down, you know, spend the weekend, and that's when they're going to want to start getting their mowers ready for April. So, and the thing is March is a tough time of the year for this business in this area, because they do come down, they drop off their mowers on that March 14th, and then it takes them a month to come pick them up because they're, you know, they're not going to be back down. So, I will, you know, I try to make sure that I have plenty of room to store the mowers and plenty of tarps to cover them all up. And I just tell them, look, I'll store it the best I can, but there's no guarantees that they're not going to get wet. So, I tell you, this doesn't make sense. We're in really warm temperatures, but the wind is coming from the north. I mean, we're supposed to be 70 degrees on Monday, and this is Friday. So, well, I'm going to jump off of here. So if you'll click this up next box, take the video over to my other channel, I really appreciate it. Go check it out. So I hope I can inspire you. Plan ahead so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.